Yeah, so let's talk about Arkham VR.
All
So to fill in the fans that aren't aware, I'm sure everybody is. There's a new VR game coming out. Batman Arkham Shadows is the name of it, and it is starring William Lane Craig as Batman. It is. Wait, I said William
You just
Roger
called
Craig
William?
Smith.
Yeah,
I said
I'm
William
about to correct you real
Roger
quick.
Craig Smith. I'm
You
sorry.
said
Thank you.
William. Who the fuck is a
That's
William
a different
A.
actor.
Smith?
And
Okay.
so there's a lot to be excited about. And also, by the way, the story revealed some very interesting things. They're going to reveal the origin story of Harley. Um, there's one catch, a big catch. It is exclusive to the Oculus, not just any Oculus, the Oculus Rift 3. If you have the second one, nope, doesn't count. If you have Oculus Rift 1, it doesn't count. It is only the Oculus Rift 3, which you can buy for the low price of $500.
I think they're called the MetaQuest.
MetaQuest. Thank you. Either way, it's $500.
The MetaQuest 3 is $500. Apparently, I see so many people giving excuses saying that it's going to be like $300 when Arkham comes out. And I even looked at the sales. Apparently, they only sold like 2.5 million copies, or I'm sorry, 1.5 million copies at the end of last year. So even if every person bought a Arkham Shadows, they're not going to sell like half of Arkham Origins.
So wait, no, let's put it this way. That means that less than half of the people who played or who purchased Arkham Knight in the first 6 months own a MetaQuest 3. That's like the staggering statistic there. 5 million copies of Arkham Knight were sold in 6 months. It sounds like less people own a MetaQuest 3.
And that's my biggest frustration, is the fact that it's a VR game, which is like limiting its capacity to actually get out to people that want to play this game. Like the Arkham universe isn't a VR fucking franchise. It's a console PC franchise that's known to be a third-person game. So I'm excited to see what they do with this, because they got free flow combat, they got predator encounters, they got, a potentially good story, and they got a good voice actor with it. But the fact in VR just it kills. Like, you could see it in every comment too. Everybody's like, this cool, but it's in VR. It's like, you would be excited for it if you didn't know what it was, if you didn't know it was VR, but it's VR. So it's like, how can you really be that excited for it?
Well, and there's things about it, like you said, to be excited about, but then when nobody has this freaking headset for $500. And by the way, in this economy, I mean, there's literally record-breaking inflation. 82% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. It's not like people are just sitting on cash to spend on an extra console to play one game. Okay, this is not feasible for most people to actually buy this. And, a $60, $70 game, that's one thing. But having them buy a whole new console to just play this one game, which, by the way, there's not very many games on this system to begin with. So it's really, you would just be buying it for this, maybe one or two other things. Another consideration is this studio made the Iron Man VR game. I was watching through the Iron Man VR game on YouTube, and it was horrible as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, the graphics are horrible. It was like a demo. You know what I'm saying? It was like a demo, a proof of concept demo. It did, to me, look like a real game. Mm-hmm. Now, the screenshots for this game, the quality of it look way better. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. You know how these photos are that are like 6 months before the game comes out. Who knows if it'll actually be as good as the photos say? It's actually not 6 months. It's more like four, somewhere in that range. So I agree with Marcel. I'm excited to see what they do with the story. It's just frustrating that WB, of course, full circle here, they always find a way to screw everything up, right? So they never can do something perfectly right. There's always got to be something wrong with it. And so we're getting Arkham Origins 2, which we've been asking for 10 years. There's just one major little kink in it. There's a major little asterisk next to that announcement that we should discuss, because it is not exactly accessible to the Arkham community. But I mean, just imagine how hyped we would be. Imagine the hype difference between the community with this announcement, which there are people excited. I'm excited. I mean, I want to see, I want to play it. There's no question about it. I do want to play it. But just the difference in the hype between this versus if it was just Arkham Origins 2 on Xbox and PlayStation. Just think about the difference that we would be having in terms of this conversation. It would be we would be rushing to film this podcast a lot faster than we did if that was the case. Let's just put it that way.
We'll be theorizing left and right and trying to be as excited as possible for this. And, for this game, it's like, we already know there's going to be Harley, there's going to be Scarecrow. And, the way it pans out, it really does depend on how they really execute this VR system and how they actually execute the VR gameplay. Like if it's like Arkham VR where you're just pointing and clicking and moving and you're just like punching bad guys and then moving again with, you're not even like actually moving, you're just like pointing at a spot and then teleporting to that location, it's going to feel weird. But if you're actually being able to move around, it says there's exploration. So who knows what the hell that means? We could explore Gotham, maybe. It looks like it's like
Yeah, they
Arkham
said there's
Gotham.
exploration in Telltale games too, and you know how you would just like move around to, like it's gonna be like that. I'm telling you. But that's the problem with these VR games is like it's not a sophisticated technology enough yet, and they all really feel. They just feel like proof of concepts. They feel like kind of demos that you would play at like some E3 event, and it would be like, this is the future. 10 years from now, we're all going to be doing this. And it's like, it's just not quite there yet. It's not quite there yet.
Yeah, until I could play like no player or zero player or Ready Player One. Jesus Christ, so much.
Exactly.
Until I could get teleported into the world and literally be Batman, where it's like a third person around me and I'm like running around just like bah, bah, to fucking criminals. Yeah, I'm not going to be excited until then. Until then. What about you, Jake?
Yeah, Jake. Sorry, we're talking a
lot. No, you're good. Yeah, I'm kind of two minds about it because when it was announced and I saw that it was for MetaQuest 3, I was pretty upset. I'm not going to lie. And I've been trying real hard to think of like a comparison that's adequate because I do get pushback from people a lot on this who are excited for the game. And I feel that the best way to describe it is it's like, okay, let's say that Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire announced that they're coming back to do Spider-Man 4, and you're getting really excited. And then they announce that it's going to be an animated movie or a video game or something that's just not a theatrical blockbuster movie.
Jake, what would be a better analogy for this is if Spider-Man, if Insomniac came out with those 3 Spider-Man games that just came out and then we're like, yeah, we're going to do Spider-Man VR. It's going to be a 6-hour experience and you're going to be playing a prequel story where you get to swing around and do things. And there's combat.
To do it. If they wait 10 years and then bring it back in the form of VR, or if they said, hey, we're doing a Telltale game. It's, yeah. The thing that does interest me is that I was listening to an interview with the lead developer on the Kinda Funny podcast with Greg Miller. And this lead developer is very passionate about the Arkhamverse. He confirmed that this wasn't something that Warner Brothers came and like paid them off to make. They actually went to Warner Brothers and pitched the game. And he talked about how faithful they're trying to be to the larger continuity. And the thing that excites me is this feels like everything we wanted Arkham VR to be back in 2016. This is a game where you're going to be grappling and gliding in VR. They've brought the free flow combat system to VR. They've brought stealth encounters to VR. He said it's going to be about the scale and scope of Arkham Asylum. So yes, it's not going to be the next Arkham Knight, but it is a marked improvement over Batman Arkham VR in 2016. So that does get me interested. The other silver lining is that very frequently when a VR game does well, we see a AAA flat screen console bound game get announced soon after. So Iron Man VR came out, did well. They're now making a AAA Iron Man game. Prince of Persia, they did a VR experience for it. Now they have like 3 versions of the game coming out. Like they have 3 different Prince of Persia titles all coinciding, which I think is like a very weird decision in of itself. But it does show that companies do view VR experiences sometimes as like kind of a preemptive temperature gauge. Like, okay, is this still a franchise that people are interested in and going to play? So the likelihood of this game catching on, because it will be one of the more sophisticated VR games, is pretty high. And beyond that, that's where I could see Rocksteady executives and Warner Brothers executives saying, okay, let's do Arkham Origins 2 as a full AAA game, where it's going to be like built on the back of the Arkham Knight mechanics. And so overall, I actually think this is good news for Batman Arkham fans. I do think that it does point to a promising future, but that doesn't negate the fact that a major chapter of the Arkhamverse that's going to show the origin of Scarecrow and Ratcatcher and Harley Quinn is going to be relegated to a much less accessible system. So it's really a hard pill for me to swallow, but I do at least appreciate that the developers are understanding of that and totally acknowledge the criticism and view it as valid. and are addressing it rather than just arguing with the fans over it. Like, that feels like a refreshing change of pace. I am excited and want to try it. I don't want to buy a $500 system to play it, though.
Yeah, you're gonna have to watch it on YouTube now. Gotta watch some YouTube cutscenes, just like everybody did with Suicide Squad.
That's right.
But with this thing, it's like I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see it. But it's such a missed opportunity because they had a perfect concept, and it's sad because, like, why is WB the one that needs to be pitched this? Why can't they just be like looking at their sales numbers from Arkham Knight, Arkham Origins? I literally Googled that, and they both sold over 7.5 million copies each. So it's like, if your main gaming franchise that hasn't been pumping out a game for the last 10 years, and the last 4 games have sold like, 7 million copies each, wouldn't that be a good idea we're usually used to, instead of like relegating it to, like you said, just that one $500 new system? It's like, people have already spent their $500 on the goddamn PlayStation 5. Nobody's going to try to like go out of their way to buy this. And if they do, then they obviously have the money for it. But like, most people don't have the money for this. And it's just, I've said in my last video, it's sad to see, because I genuinely think that most people want this game, but most people aren't going to be able to play this game. It's so out of their hands.
And no one would be upset if this was releasing alongside an actual console-bound AAA Arkham game. Like the example you mentioned earlier. If for Spider-Man 3, Insomniac said this is exclusive to the PlayStation VR, people would be pissed. If they said we have a 30-minute VR experience that is complimentary to anyone who buys the game and owns the VR system, that would be fine. And it's similar here. Like, if this was being developed and we were also getting a standalone Arkham Origins 2, I think people would actually be very optimistic and would be more open to trying the VR experience. But we're in this weird bubble where, even like, best case scenario is the game does great. Everyone loves Batman Arkham Shadow. Only a fraction of people can play it, but it's blowing up on YouTube. People are enjoying the story. And then it takes Warner Brothers 10 years to greenlight and produce another Arkham game. So yeah, it's weird. They've been working on this for 4 years now, 3.5 years. It'll be 4 years by the time it comes out. I don't know how during that time you don't have an executive say, hey, we have a new Batman Arkham experience coming out. Maybe we should make another Arkham game. That would make some money.
Because they thought they were going to make $1 billion on Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Why do you need to make Arkham if you're going to make $1 billion on Suicide Squad?
No kidding.
And then they're doubling down on the live service. So
this is WBExec Logic. It's WBExec Logic. It's not really logic, but it makes sense to them. I completely agree with everything you said, Jake and Marcel. I think that there's a lot of upsides to this, and it could turn into something cool. The inaccessibility of it is really disappointing, but at the same point, I'm excited to finally be getting Arkham Origins 2. And of course, in classic WB fashion, the way it came about is laughable, disjointed, and downright just unbelievable. But at the same point, it is a new installment into the Arkham franchise, and I do think it's going to be a legit game from a story perspective. From the gameplay, we'll see. I don't know. My suspicion is that it's going to feel a little bit more like a demo, but as you aligned, Jake, and I think you convinced me on that point, I think it is true that they are, if Arkham VR in 2016 was a demo, this certainly is more expanded than that in terms of Arkham VR was laughable. They didn't even have combat. All you could do is throw a batarang. It was laughable. This game does look like it actually does have combat. It appears. We haven't seen it. We've seen photos of it, which is not necessarily inspiring a ton of confidence, but at least it exists. And then stealth. Like, stealth could be really cool in VR. Again, they tried to do it in Arkham. It was horrible in Arkham VR. I think the whole thing was a joke. But this could be better. And they're spending 4 years on it.
Not to worry, everybody, but if you said there's 4 years being worked on that and they have no gameplay to show 4 months from release, that's a little bit worrisome. When are they going to show it?
This is what I'm saying is, seriously, go search Iron Man VR gameplay. It's horrible. I'm just being honest.
That's a little weird. That's a little worrisome. That's like literally hearing that Spider-Man 2 was worked on for 5 years, and now we're only getting gameplay the last 2 months of the fucking goddamn release.
It's the new industry standard. Games
Oh,
take to make. 10 years ago, they took 2. I don't
Yeah.
know what. I was thinking about this a lot today, actually. I have no clue how it's taking companies like so long. And the only thing I can think of is games are just being made over budget with way too high of ambitions. And I don't know why, but I definitely hope that executives can start scaling back. But what I think we're really learning from this Arkham Shadow experience is that, this was a startup company essentially that started to make high quality VR games that is now pitched an Arkham game to Warner Brothers and is working on it. So if we want another good Arkham game, we just need to start a video game company and go and pitch Arkham Origins 2 to Warner Brothers. I think we've cracked the case.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. We got to go over to 100 Star Games, hijack their leadership, and make them go over to WB and apologize for everything Septon Hill did.
Yeah, and on that note, guys, thank you for watching the Anonymous Throwdown Game Studio podcast. If you'd like to learn more about our game studio, check the link in the description below. And just we have a GoFundMe, and we have a pitch and a petition to make Arkham Origins 2.
Yep.
Do we have any staff that can make games besides Jake? No, he's the only one, but he'll do it.
Wait a minute.
And then Marcel
I have
and
a
will give
contact.
full support.
No, I have a contact with Amazing Lucas. Amazing Lucas, that really popular YouTuber. He was asking me about the Spider-Man combat thing the other month because he's making a Spider-Man game. So if we go ahead and just bring him in with his 20 employees that he said he could make a better game than Insomniac with, then we could just go ahead and make Arkham Origins 2.
Bring him in. I'll be the creative director. I've shipped one game that got a 4 out of 10 on Steam, and I got some
Bro.
Yeah, dude, I'm perfect. I'm perfect.
Exactly. We got the YouTube developing studio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
YDS.
And we're going to actually determine the entire story based on YouTube community post polls. So you guys you vote for what happens. It's like killing Jason Todd in the late 80s, or was it early 90s? I don't know. Whenever he died, I think 80s.
The plot twist is that Joker is the main villain. Just know it's your guys' decision.
Yep,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just won in the poll. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Or we might just take your poll and use it, and then go ahead and just use Joker anyways, the main villain, like WB does every single time they put him in an Arkham game.
Oh, Joker's the main character for sure. Batman is actually a side character. It's like the Dark Knight.
Damn.
That's what it's going to be. I mean, that's where the money gets made. Let's be real.
You're right. We're going to make a Suicide Squad version of that with Joker running around.
No, what we're going to do is we're going to make Batman Arkham kills the Suicide Squad. And it's going to be Batman unceremoniously murking the Suicide Squad because he's going to time travel via Flash and go back and then murk all of them. And that's going to be the game. Can you imagine how satisfying that would be to be Batman? That's the one time I would actually be okay with Batman breaking his killing rule, is to kill Captain Boomerang. I would love that.
Oh, that'd be great. Yes.
Okay,
All
should
right.
we wrap this up?
I think so. I think we got everything we needed to talk about. We got all off our chest.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching so much. It's been a pleasure. Anonymous Throwdown number. We'll just reboot it and start with number 1. It's number
1.
It's season 2, episode 1.
Season 2, episode 1. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to all of our channels wherever we post this, and we'll see you guys in our next videos.
Peace.
Ay, 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 ay.